We will come back to this. Big government can be a force for good. These presidents tell us that there's a triumph for the ordinary man that will take America far. Career politicians are the wrong way to go. Join Team America. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com. Donate what you can. And together, we will make America work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Welcome to Biz Talk on Now Media Television. I am your host, Rachel Weaver, and I am excited to have with me today Stefan Whitwell. Stefan is an exceptional individual making waves in the business world. He is the driving force behind Whitwell Advisors, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. Stefan, it is such an honor and pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm excited to be here.
I am excited to dive right into the topic of investment math.
Boy, that sounds scary at first, doesn't it?
It sure does, especially if you're not someone who likes math or taxes or any of those kinds of things. Anything with the word math in business, a lot of people run the other way, especially if you're a creative. But it's something that really is important for us to face and talk about, especially when we think about our future of ourselves, our future of our businesses, our future of our children. So I have heard people talk about the math of investing. For us non-mathematicians, what's the most important things that we need to understand to be good investors?
So I think two of the most important concepts when it comes to investing are, number one, keep it. Number two, grow it. So let's look at the math behind each of those separately. So when I say keep it, I mean the importance of protecting your capital. And when we talk about risk, what is important to understand about risk is the likelihood of permanent loss of capital. What risk is not is simply variation in prices, right? So prices can move all over the place, but if the underlying company that you have invested in or the underlying asset that you bought is still sound, then your investment is still working for you. So one of the reasons we're going to start with keep it is the fact that the way investing works, losses are asymmetric. Now that's a mouthful. What that means is that if you lose money, you have to earn more than you lost to make it back to break even. So I'll give you two simple examples. First example is if you have $100 and you lose 20 and you now have 80, in order to get back from 80 to 100, okay, so that first loss was 20%. But to get from 80 back to 100, you actually have to make 25%. Right? So you have to make more than you lost to get back to break even, which means you got to work harder and your money has to work harder. And that makes your job harder to grow your money. A more extreme example, but maybe not so extreme because the stock market has fallen over 50% multiple times. If an investment falls 50%, how much does it need to grow to get back to break even? And the answer is 100%. So $100 falls to 50. How much does that 50 need to grow? If you lost 50 to get back to 100, it has to grow 100%. So you can see how when you take big losses, you have to work that much harder. So the bottom line on that is it's important to be cautious and to be smart about your investments, right? So that's what I mean by keep it. And one of the most basic ways to do that is to just do your homework. Make sure you really understand what you're investing in. So that's number one. Number two is make it. Let's make more money. So we often hear about compounding, right? We've heard that word. And here's kind of a really funny but not so funny example that's real life to today. So before this show, coming on here with you, I looked on the homepage of Wells Fargo, and I see that when you click on their check rates page and you put in my zip code in Texas, that the very first interest rate that they give you for putting money in a savings account is 1 basis point. That is 1/100th of 1%. So let's say you want to put in $100,000 and you want to grow it to be $200,000. At that interest rate, it would take you 6,923 years. Not good, right? Somebody's benefiting, but not you. So if you scroll further down, they then have fancier account names, and the next one offers 29 basis points. So if you think about that's like 1/3 of 1%. But even though that's a slight difference, right? It makes a big difference. So 100,000 to turn that into 200,000, instead of 6,000 years, it's now 239 years. Obviously, one of the punchlines there today is be careful about putting your money in a bank because there's risks that you may not appreciate about that. And if they're not paying you a good interest rate, it could take you a long, long time to hit your goals. By contrast, if you're investing your money and you are able to make 10% per year, then it will only take you 7 years to double your money from 100,000 to 200,000. And I don't know about you, but I think 7 years is a lot better than 6,000.
Absolutely. Whoa, that was a lot of really good information. Especially when we talk about compounding or making more money, because that's something that I know for a lot of us sparks our attention really quickly when someone says how to make more money. And really, the money we're making, how to make that work harder, faster, and grow without us actually working harder, because there's a lot of us in today's world that are working super hard, who made what used to be a really good living off of what we made. And today with inflation, people are struggling. So this is really important information. So pay attention to all of you out there.
Yeah. And, one of the takeaways is even little differences over long periods of time can make a huge difference. Right. So that's where I gave it's crazy that you have savings accounts that are being offered to people at such low interest rates, but even just a 28 basis point difference in return makes a huge difference over long periods of time, right? In that crazy example of real life today, put $100,000 in an account. The difference between one rate getting from 100,000 to 200,000, difference between one rate and a slightly better rate is a difference of 6,000 years. And I'm it's hilarious to think that, that they would offer rates so low. But that's why you have to be careful, right? You've got to understand that even small differences can make a huge impact on your wealth. And it's easy for us to just put it off. Oh, I'll do that next week. I'll do that next month. Oh, I'll do that, and next thing you know, it turns into years. Yeah. So keep your money invested, working hard for you, because like you said, Rachel, we all work super hard to make the money we make.
Yes.
It's your job. If you're watching this today, it's your job to make sure that you know how much interest you're getting. And if you're not getting a good interest rate, then reach out to somebody, get some advice, and take action. Put it in an account that's going to be making more money for you. Or I've seen this too. If you have investments that you're not checking, well, check it, right? Your homework today is to go look at your statements and say, hey, what kind of returns have I been making? Because if you're not making good returns, then you need to do something about that.
Super valuable, important information. And I know a lot of people say, well, I have nothing left. But I know, especially if you are a business owner, there are many ways that you can start going through things and saying, why am I paying for this? Or even the biggest one, oh my goodness, it was so eye-opening for me the last week, is realizing, we hear about credit card processing, people who pay with credit card, and those fees are typically 2.9%. All of us think those fees are 2.9%. But the truth of the matter is, if you're paying 2.9%, you are paying way, way too much. There are many smaller credit card processing companies that are not small. They're worth billions, but they're just not as loud as like Stripe and all the big ones that are out there. And their fees are a fraction of that. So you better believe I found a way to just save myself a lot of money, and I'm going to turn around and invest it back just as though I'm learning through you, Stefan. So thank you.
Well, and you can save it both directions, right? So as a business owner, like you said, you can find a better payment processor. But I recently found a company that's offering credit cards that, instead of giving you points, gives you money back that gets automatically invested in stocks.
Oh.
And over time, that just keeps adding up. And I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. And I've seen something similar with crypto as well. And I just think that anything you can do to immediately start putting your acorns to work is super smart. Like you said, on the business owner side, on the consumer side, it adds up.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all of this great knowledge for everyone. Where can our audience find you to continue compounding their money?
I love it. Yeah, give me a call. You can reach us at 512-766-7775, or just shoot me a note and say hello. Let me know what you're up to or what areas are interesting to you that you'd like to learn more about. Stefan, Stefan, that's F as in freedom, no PH, please, at whitwelladvisors.com.
Thank you so much, Stefan. We look forward to having you back again very soon. And with that, we will be right back after this commercial break.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure, and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock-bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, we're going to talk about a potential Quigley administration, the cabinet. What is it going to look like? It's got 25 members, and we're going to staff those members from the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, independents, and other third parties across America. All of our team players are going to be highly analytical, top problem solvers. They're going to be well educated, and they're going to have lived a life in the trenches. We don't want drama. We want the best possible roster that Team America can create. Defense and related departments and agencies, of course, are going to be recruited from within. Why? Because they need highly specialized knowledge. All are welcome to join Team America. All are welcome at our table. A large percentage of the senior executive service positions we're going to convert to internships for high school seniors and college students. Join Team America. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com. Donate what you can, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Welcome back to Biz Talk, everyone. I am your host, Rachel Weaver. Today, I have with me a very special guest, Dr. Alan Badeau. Dr. Badeau is an AI evangelist and the CEO of Alan Badeau LLC, a prominent consulting company specializing in AI, blockchain, quantum, and advanced technology solution for diverse clientele, including commercial, federal, and international entities. Dr. Badeau, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rachel. It's great to be here again.
Thank you. So happy to have you. So today we're going to talk about ethical considerations in AI. Something that a lot of us don't like to talk about it, but it's super important. Or some people love talking about it. I personally love AI, and I try to leverage it everywhere I can. So for me, I'm typically not trying to search for those ethical issues, even though I know I have to keep in the back of my head the importance of understanding when we're crossing the line. But what potential ethical concerns and challenges does the article mention regarding the development and use of artificial intelligence? Like, I mean, when we're thinking about AI with ethical issues, what are some of the things we should consider?
Yeah, the biggest one is really going to be around fraud. That's usually the number one topic that comes up because, so many institutions are starting to use AI for identity verification purposes. For instance, your voice when you call in can be used as part of your identity, or your background information, or things like that. That is pretty much the number one concern for a lot of folks because they're worried that AI is going to just be one other mechanism to steal your identity. But then the other issues, there's so many of them when it comes to HR, for instance, using AI inside of human resources. That's a big issue because how candidates can potentially be filtered or not filtered before a human ever gets to look at them. And so you could have AI just by chance filtering out one demographic automatically. And so then the HR person is wondering, well, why am I not getting any candidates? Well, you are, but the HR or the AI has filtered those candidates out. So, it's those types of scenarios that folks are really concerned about.
Mm-hmm. But haven't we been utilizing technology to filter out candidates for years and years?
We have. And the thing about those words, they would usually look at keywords, for instance. Okay. It would be something like, well, I'm applying for a medical director type position. And if medical director doesn't show up, then it would probably filter, some of those things out. Where AI, because it can take in all of that information, it could potentially look at a lot of other things, education, your, different types of background, different, really just, the persona of that resume, for instance. It could just see something that it doesn't like for some reason and then filter all of them out. And that's really what the biggest challenge is, because you don't want hiring managers to, not have the capability to look at those folks just because the AI got rid of them.
Okay, very good. That makes sense. According to people that I've talked to in the customer service area, how is AI expected to impact customer service operations? I have a lot of colleagues and friends and business partners who are really, really concerned because their main role is to create luxury customer experiences or be the backbone behind major corporations to make sure that the customer service is intact. So many of them are really concerned about their job security with AI.
Yeah, and what I tell people, you can't rush into deploying these solutions, because if you do that, you're more than likely going to make a mistake. However, from an ethical perspective, all the way through the entire process, there are really warning signs in some cases to make sure that it doesn't go off the rails. The best thing for, in a lot of the companies that I'm working with, they are not getting rid of jobs. Their folks are busy enough as it is. But what they're doing is they're really taking those people and they're scaling what their capabilities are. So, for instance, instead of only being able to respond to, 60, 70 calls a day, they can do 300 calls a day because they're working with the AI side by side. And that's where the biggest benefit is. Also, from an ethical perspective, all the way through, your customer service and their experience, because the human can catch things that the AI is going to do. For instance, it could say something wrong. The human can jump on that really quick, course correct, and then go from there. But at the same time, the AI can do a lot of the groundwork before the human ever talks to them, so that when they do, then it's accelerated, response, but really elevating what that level of service is going to be.
Wow, really great information. Really, I mean, it sounds to me like a lot of people in customer service should be less concerned about being replaced and more concerned about learning and leveraging AI, especially most of the people that I talk to are in higher roles. So if they teach their team how to implement AI to be kind of an assistant for them to really help them, it can benefit them, and also the company see them as a greater value rather than a risk.
That's right. And what is important, and I try to emphasize this to as many people as I can. The reality is that AI is not going to replace customer service representatives today. It's somebody that knows how to use the AI that is going to replace them. That is just the fundamental realities of any, technology revolution that you go through, and that's going to happen with these folks if they don't learn and understand how to use them the right way.
Love that. Super, super important. Can you tell us what are some of the different, I guess, if you will, technology, different apps that you would suggest that would be safer versus those that are going to be higher risk when utilizing AI that we could, I don't know. I guess in my opinion, from what I know, it comes back to us, right? And how we use the AI. But I also have seen some apps, I believe, smarter or a little bit safer, if you will, than others when they come out with the answers when I'm asking them questions. So do you have any that you suggest to be safer or more ethical in terms of apps that people use on an everyday basis?
Yeah, what I say is that it really does have to be a layered approach.
Okay.
There's no one app that really can handle everything in every industry, every requirement that you have. So what you have to do is you have to look at it specifically for what you're trying to do. What kind of technology is it? What kind of data has the AI been trained on? Because you don't want to use the supply chain AI to run your service desk, for certain, capabilities, right? So those sort of things don't go well and they don't mix too well. So you want to make sure that you understand that. But then you also want to layer in security, AI security. You want to layer in, things that comply with GDPR, for example, over in Europe. If you have different, requirements, you don't want people to get certain responses, right? And so there's a whole lot of different technologies and really a specialized technology stack that is going to really cover all of those requirements. So don't try to just use one app to do everything. It's not going to go well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense. I appreciate that. I know it's a question that a lot of people come up with. Even they'll ask me and I tell them, you need to ask an expert because it is definitely not my expertise. I use it every day, but I have about 10 different places where I use it. So
that's exactly right.
It would be nice if there was a one size fits all, but unfortunately, we just haven't gotten to that point yet. But I believe one day there might be a space or an app. Maybe you'll create it for us.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll be watching out for it, for sure. So, do you have any suggestions for us in terms of making sure that we stay within the ethical considerations and boundaries when using AI as a closing statement?
Yeah, I would say that people need to do their research because it really does come back to them. They have to understand and at least make an effort to try to see where the data comes from that their AI has been trained on. Because a lot of times, you know, if you have an AI and it answers a question one day, and then the next day it's a completely different response to that question, then that means a human went in there and flipped a switch and turned a filter on. And so you've got to look at these sort of things to see, you know, who is the man behind the curtain or the woman behind the curtain, or who is controlling what the AI and what filters they have on it. Because you may have great intent to be as ethical as you possibly can, but if the person that's controlling the filters of the models have different goals, desires, whatever those things are, then that can definitely pose a challenge for you. So, you know, I tell people, use a bunch of apps, get familiar with them. I think your perspective is just as important as mine, for example, because of usability, experience, those kind of things. And if people focus on that, then the ethical pieces will usually fall into place for them, because somebody that's building them will try to do their best to monitor those.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. Always valuable information every time we have you on the show. Can you tell us where to find you?
Yeah, you can go to alanbadeau.ai, or you can go to harmonicai.ai, and that's where we're building our persona platform, that, you know, our cognitive persona platform. So, you know, happy to take questions. People can send me emails and reach out to me. It doesn't cost anything for me to answer a question. So, you know, happy to do that.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Badeau. We always love having you on the show. We look forward to having you back again next time. And with that, we will be right back after this commercial break.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new CareWatch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The CareWatch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. The CareWatch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your CareWatch right now. Operators are standing by.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Climate repair in detail. Choices are fix the climate, or the climate will fix us. Rate of extreme events increasing. Destructive impacts of these events increasing. Humans can't survive at 120-degree temperatures for long. Latin America had 100-degree temperatures during their winter. We have ice core, geological tree ring, DNA records, plus sensors scattered around the planet. Wilderness destruction and species destruction is everywhere, all caused by humans. Fossil fuels are the culprit, but we need them for a couple of decades longer. Team America will build direct air capture plants, rewild, reforest, and reintroduce family farms. Increase solar, electric will all be increased. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, find the donor box button, donate what you can. Team America needs your spare change. Join Team America, spread the word, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Welcome to Biz Talk, everyone. I am your host, Rachel Weaver, and I am excited to have with me today Nora Al-Masri. Nora is an enrolled agent with the IRS, the founder and CEO of Nora's Books, and an international best-selling author. She has a master's degree in business information technology from DePaul University, and she brings over 20 years of accounting experience to her work in managing and growing nonprofit organizations. Nora, it is such an honor and pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's my pleasure always to be with you.
Aw, I am excited. I don't know if that's the word for it. No. We're going to talk today about tax season and key aspects for what tax season means, especially when it comes to deadlines, right? All of us hate facing those deadlines, but it's really important for us to be aware. So what are the important tax deadlines that businesses need to be aware of during tax season?
So yeah, the deadlines, we already passed 2 deadlines for businesses. One of them was the estimated tax returns. That is actually for the 4th quarter of last year that already passed on January 16th. And then we just passed another one yesterday, was the deadline to issue 1099s for your contractors and W-2s for your employees. So if you did not do that yet, you still can do them. You cannot, you might get penalized for that, but you can still do that. So that's the deadline for January. Now, for filing your returns as a business, it's different from formation to another formation. So if you are S Corp or partnership or multi-member LLC, then your deadline to file your tax return is March 15. Now, if you are single member LLC, if you are a C corporation, and also for your individual return, all tax filing due on April 15. Now, tax payments also due on April 15, even if you are filing for an extension. So you want to be aware of that. Extension doesn't mean extension to pay, it is extension to file. So those are the most important upcoming deadline for you as a business owner. If you have a nonprofit on a calendar year, your deadline on March 15.
Wow, really good information for us to know. I know for me for sure. So I have a question that I know a lot of business owners, especially new entrepreneurs, and some that are established, they had a tough year last year. And so a lot of them have been talking to me about how all the money they had going out, they took a significant loss. And they're pretty new to being a business owner. So are there big penalties for them if they are not bringing in a profit to their business if they're not on time with their filing?
So they have to be on time for their filing. So this is what business owners should change. Like, the mindset is everything. When you start a business, you really have to bring what's going to make your business go. So you need to have sales, you need to have accounting, you need to have marketing. So all these 3 components must happen to your business to be a business. So if you actually neglect any of these, marketing, sales, or accounting, you're not going to have a successful business, and you will be forced out of the business game sooner or later. So it's not a luxury to have a bookkeeping. It's not a luxury to file your taxes, because let's say you are in a partnership or in S Corp. There is a penalty for every month for each partner if you do not file on time. So you want to make sure you file on time. And let's say, and that's a monthly payment, monthly penalty. It's not, so if you have 2 partners, now the multiply it by 2. If you have 3, then multiply it by 3 and that goes on. So you want to make sure you file. If you're not ready to file, you can do an extension. So make sure you file an extension, but you want to be aware that it's an extension to file. So if you do not make a payment, if you think you have to pay tax return, then you're going to be penalized. You're going to actually get interest penalized. So you want to make sure to still talk to your accountant, still figure out if you might owe or not. Because yeah, in some business return, if you're doing the March 15 deadlines, you're not going to pay any taxes with that, but that's going to give you K1, and then that you're going to take it and include it with your personal return where you pay the taxes if you owe or get a refund if you don't. So it's really important to actually be aware of your situation. And if you are going to get money back, if this is the expectation based on consulting with your tax professional, then okay, you're fine. Just do the extension and wait until you actually have time. But if you're struggling financially, just get your money, just file. Just file on time and get your money. And you must do your bookkeeping in order to ensure that you do get all your deduction. Because when you do your finances, when you do your accounting, your bookkeeping, taxes, you're actually more informed. You can take an informed decision, make an informed decision to make sure you are successful financially, so your business will do well. Yeah, not all of businesses did not do well last year. A lot of people did very well last year because they are aware of their financials. They're aware of, they're doing their marketing, their sales. They're on top of the game. They're taking their business seriously. And we might sometimes feel like we're taking our businesses seriously, but we would be all over the place. We're not focusing on the right thing. We're focusing on the wrong thing. So we need to set the priority right so we don't face these problems again, and make sure you do an extension again if you cannot still file on time.
Very good information. I could not agree more on the mindset is really everything when starting a business. I say this all the time, especially when I hear of people telling me some of their challenges, but yet they haven't done marketing or they haven't created a good sales funnel or a sales team. So you have no business if you don't have those things. And a lot of people don't like to face that, but that's the reality of the situation. So very, very good information for people to understand and know, because regardless of your situation, the IRS doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people, for whatever reason, think that they can have this free pass because they didn't bring money in, but they just don't care. Just like your bank doesn't care if you brought money in when it's time to pay your mortgage.
Exactly.
Yes. Really great information. So can you tell us, there's been so many changes in tax laws, so many changes, and we talked about some of these recently. Are there any recent changes in tax laws that businesses should be aware of for the current tax year? And how can we stay updated on tax code changes and things that are going to impact us as business owners?
So not really a lot of, there's a lot of changes, but, like it's based on the case. So like it's going to be different for every business. Of course, most of these tax returns for a lot of small business owners, it's actually passed through to their individual tax return. So this is when you see the most changes, like on the standard deduction, how you take those deductions. And a lot of people, if they purchase a house, for example, with this interest rate, high interest rate and everything, it might make sense for them to itemize, not take the standard deduction. It depends, so it depends from case to case, but because the interest rates is very high, and depends on the taxes and everything and their other expenses, sometimes, even if you did not do this itemization before, you might take advantage of the itemization. There's also clean energy changes, and we can talk about this later more. But this is actually, there's some changes, and you can actually somehow transfer your your deduction to the person who's selling you this. There's a lot of details. I actually did not read through this like a lot. It's just like it's very recent. So if you are thinking of that, like purchasing a car like clean energy or home or using the clean energy, it's actually makes sense to actually go and talk to your accountant and see what does that have for you. Because even though like we might not have it on top of our mind, but when we have a client, we actually go and like get all the details that applies for the client, because all these tax publication, it's like hundreds of pages, like or tens of pages at least. So it's usually what we do is research for every client situation. This is why every client is unique. So you as a business owner have to actually be in touch with your accountant. You have to have this as a monthly subscription, or you have to add tax planning, something like you always have to communicate with your tax accountant in order to make informed decision. And now, for example, for this year, it makes more sense for you now for 2024 to take advantage of all the changes to actually correct any mistake that you were not aware for last year. Work now with a tax accountant. Make sure you are in a monthly engagement with them to make sure actually you are updated. So they will look at your profile, especially if you were doing the bookkeeping with them or have a sort of CFO services, including tax planning, then they will have more of your situation. They can give you more advisory so to your tax status, because everyone is unique. Your personal situation is gonna affect how much you are taking advantage from your from what's out there in the business. And because also that's gonna protect you from falling victim for those people who calls you saying, okay, we can get you approved for this law or whatever. Because last year what happened, a lot of people were calling, even tax professionals, where they were calling us as tax professionals and saying, hey, we can get you more clients approved for ERC credits. And that was a fraud. And unfortunately, a lot of people actually fall into that. Hopefully, I don't know about tax professionals, but if you are informed tax professionals, I'm sure you did not fall for that. But, not all tax professionals are very diverse with the tax law. So be careful. If you're working with tax accountants, you will protect yourself from this.
Very good information to understand. Wow. Very eye-opening as well. The good thing for everyone out there listening, if you haven't faced your fears of the tax laws, it's not too late. But the sooner you do it, the better. The more you delay, the more penalty you're going to have to pay. So stop delaying. Contact a professional contact a professional as soon as possible, like Nora, so that you can set yourself up for success and stop delaying. Nora, thank you so much. Can you tell the audience where to find you?
Sure. So they can actually go to my website, norasbooks.com/go to contact us, or just do /contact, and then you'll be able to book a Zoom call with me, or someone from my team will be able to talk to you and then get you started with any service that you would like to be engaged with.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor and pleasure to have you on the show. We look forward to having you back again very soon, Nora. And with that, we will be right back after this commercial break.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C., run the road to the White House. Today, we're going to talk about store closures and the massive theft going on across the country. The wife and I owned a dozen retail stores, a production workshop, manufacturing business, a wholesale business, a craft show business. And when I was a young man, I lived in East Asia for 10 years working in the manufacturing world. The real problem today is both inflation and we have lost millions of mom and pop businesses. The middle class has been decimated. We have too much business concentration in the hands of big box stores. This is true with the small family farms as well. America is losing its resiliency. We are living on borrowed time as something like war or climate impacts will push America into near or quasi-near anarchy. Let's rebuild the American cottage industry. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, donate what you can, join Team America, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Welcome back to Biz Talk, everyone. I am your host, Rachel Weaver, and I am excited to have with me today Miss Alina Gonzalez-Thackeray. Alina is a seasoned legal professional from Lakeland, Florida, with over 23 years experience. She founded Life Law Planning to offer personalized services for growing families. She was raised by a Cuban refugee parents. She values family, community, and education, embodying these principles in her commitment to being a trusted advisor. Alina's career journey includes private practice in family law and executive roles at legal aid societies. Alina, it is such an honor and pleasure to have you with us today.
Hi, Rachel. I am thrilled to be here, and I am absolutely excited that we are going to be a little bit lighter today because, as your viewers may or may not know, I am the hostess of Purple Politics, also on Now Media TV, which comes on Friday nights. And I love this role that I get to be because it turns off the legal mind. Well, I always have it on, but I get to go into all things politics, and whether it's right, whether it's left, or hey, how about some common sense? But I want to dive into something that I think will be fun, is this hysteria over Taylor Swift, the Kelce-Taylor Swift relationship, and how the MAGA right are absolutely going insane with their conspiracy theories of PsyOps. Personally, I like Taylor. I like her music. I'm not a Swiftie fan like some, but I do like her and I respect everything that she's done. I know your daughter's a major Swiftie, and I would love to hear your take on this.
She sure is a major Swiftie. So I love Taylor. I think that people have been really hard on her recently, but she has worked very hard. In my opinion, she is a great role model for girls of all ages. I believe that she doesn't deserve some of the attack that's been coming her way. But yeah, I'm excited about this topic because, you know, there's always multiple sides to every story, right? Do I believe she deserves any of this political agenda that is being thrown her way? Absolutely not. Why are we doing this to someone who, you know, look, she's just like the rest of us. She's human. She's working her tail off. She seems like a superhero because, you know, in some ways she kind of is. She's definitely got some superpowers to be able to withhold some of what's happening right now. And why are we attacking her and her love life and bringing her into the political arena?
Well, it kind of goes to, well, first of all, because, you know, let's set this to straight. There have been many mega star pop stars that have dated athletes. I mean, there was, let's remind the audience, the Jessica Simpson, Tony Romo. I know that's a hard hit in Dallas, especially because when he was Dallas Cowboys quarterback, they actually blamed all of the hoopla around their relationship because of Jessica Simpson for how poorly he played in the playoffs and such. But here we have a young lady that embodies really everything that supposedly the Republican Party is about, which I would argue the Republican Party of today is no longer the Ronald Reagan Republican Party. In that you have someone who is a self-made billionaire. So for those of you thinking she's with Travis because she needs the notoriety, because she wants the money, hello, Brett Favre, totally off. She makes over $1 billion on this tour alone. She is a huge family supporter. She loves her family. She's very respectful of Travis's family. Again, Travis, a big family guy. She is self-made. She is not raunchy. She doesn't have any drama that ensues from her behaviors. It's usually from attacks on other people, like Kim Kardashian and that time with Kanye West. But realistically, we need to put something in perspective to all of those that are, whether you identify as MAGA, you're conservative or liberal, Democrat, whatever. First of all, every citizen of the United States has a right to be able to support whomever they want. That is the beauty of this country. That is the beauty of what the founding fathers created when they were able to rebel against the United Kingdom and form the independence and form the Constitution of these United States of America. Secondly, Taylor is a registered independent. Whether she votes for Biden or whether she votes for Trump or whomever, that is her right. But all of this hoopla, all of this hysteria and these attacks, I mean, vilifying attacks by, we're talking Fox News, Sean Hannity. I will give it up. Clay and Buck actually called it out as this is ridiculousness. But she hasn't endorsed Biden this time around. She did say that she endorsed or she was going to vote for Biden in 2020. So let's stop making much ado about nothing. Let's celebrate a really cute couple. Let them have their time. Let her be supportive of a boyfriend that she seemingly loves. And let's put this MAGA craziness to bed, because we have much more serious issues in the United States rather than Taylor and Travis being a PSYOP operative of George Soros, which again is ridiculous. I think you would agree with me.
A whole lot of ridiculousness. I absolutely agree with you. Just let them be them and live their lives. I think that, both parties and the conspiracy theories that we're reading on Twitter about what they're doing and how they support and the agenda behind making her a face in the political, if she wants that, allow her to come out and say she wants to get more into politics. Stop assuming and stop creating all of these conspiracy ideas and theories. That's my personal opinion.
That's why I wanted us to go light, because we are dealing with such serious issues, especially in the political realm, which I'll go into more with immigration. You got this election. You have all these lawsuits that Trump is seemingly losing. But when we as American people, and I think it is Twitter gets a little crazy, and the news networks are fostering that craziness, because of course it's clicks, it's ratings, things of that nature, and you and I are in the media business, so we understand that. But it goes back to the premise, and we've talked about this so many times. What is the common sense? So the common sense is we need to be focusing on what the serious issues are pertaining to the United States, how best to support the citizens, and what is right for all Americans, all United States of America citizens and their residents. Because the bottom line is we do have some serious issues. We have a world that is very chaotic right now with all things going in the Middle East. We also have our border issues. We have our own educational systems that need reforms. Let's focus on that rather than who Travis and Taylor are kissing and what who they're going to vote for. When bottom line is, if you really care, it doesn't matter what the other person says. It's your individual vote. So, hey, Taylor, love you, respect you. And honestly, I'm waiting for you to come out with a book on how to create from going from nothing to something that is so big and brand. That is what I want to hear more about. And that goes into your business there, Rachel.
Yes, it does. It certainly does. I absolutely love that. Yes, I am fully in agreement with everything you said. And I just want to reel it back a quick second to what you originally had stated, the beauty of this country. And I know this goes back to your Purple Politics show, so be sure you all tune in to Alina's show. But the reality of the situation is I've lived in other countries across the globe, from Europe to Asia. I've lived in a communistic country. I've lived in, places where we didn't have as many rights as what we do here in this country. And that is such an eye-opening and awakening thing that a lot of people don't remember. They get so caught up in this country about their views, their opinion, when it's not even often factual, that they can't even see straight. And we have it so good here. We have it so good in terms of our freedoms to be able to choose. But we need to come together and stop with the fighting and the division.
Until you had the extremists. And that's the problem, is you have the most vocal, the most rabble-raising, cage-rattling people are the extremists. Whether you go on X, formerly known as Twitter, whether you listen to CNN, MSNBC, which I think MSNBC is actually a little bit more extreme than CNN currently, but even Fox News, Newsmax, and the talk radio, there is money being made here, because we got to recall this too. And I think this is something that everyone needs to realize. All of this is entertainment based. This is all for profit companies. So the more that they're able to stoke, the better for their ratings, the better for their marketing, things like that. The vast majority, I would say the vast majority of people, because I talk to friends of mine, and I have friends of mine that are progressive left. I have some that are Democrats, like traditional Democrats, in the middle, independent, or right to MAGA. Okay, I have the spectrum. And one of the things that I look at everyone and I'm like, should I hate you or do you hate me and no longer and want to eradicate our relationship, erase our relationship of, that we've had for many, many, many years, based on the fact that we are now politically on opposite sides, or can we talk about it? And my friends, for the most part, say we should be able to talk about it, because it's not a demonization. It is part of the political process. It is about having an opinion and learning from each other. Because are there some things that, let's say Trump and that far right conservative movement have points that I absolutely agree with? Absolutely. Are there some things that I agree with in the Democrat thing? Yes. And the reality is that is what is so great, because the vast majority of our country, of our citizens, are looking around going, stop the fighting, especially in Congress, or state level, legislative level. Stop the fighting of it's us against them. We hate you. We will not support you. That is not it. Because the whole point of our elected officials is it's not drawing a line and go, oh, who can be more stubborn and be more tantrum and get more clicks. It is about governance. And governance is realizing, though you may come from Florida, which is deep red right now, thanks to DeSantis. I mean, he really did. He took Florida, which was formerly red, then turned purple, back to red. Those people here in Florida may have certain opinions, certain things. That's great. But what's good for here, or what you feel is right for here, you have people that are in a maybe purple state that need a little bit more moderation, or you have to take people from where they're at. But for our elected officials, stop the psychotic, crazy, it's us against them. It's, basically drawing a line in the sand and get to governance, because governance is how we propel forward. I'll be talking about later on my show about like the congressional tax reform, which was bipartisan. That's the way it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be having consensus. So that's one of my big pulls. But again, let's have a consensus about Taylor and Travis. No, Taylor is not ruining the NFL. No, Taylor's not a George Soros PSYOP agent ruining the government. She's a girl, a young lady who happens to be dating a football player who happens to be on probably one of the best teams that there's been since Tom Brady and the Patriots. So for those of you, if you want to continue to debate this, contact me, email me, Alina at purplepoliticsusa.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Taylor.
Love that. So good. Well, now we know where to find you because we are wrapping up the segment right now, but always such an honor and pleasure to have you on the show with us, Alina. Be sure to come back very, very soon because I know that our audience loves these lighthearted, fun, but sometimes edgy conversations about what's happening in politics and in your world of law. So thank you so much for